Dr. Kristen here with the Good Doctors Diagnose for Wednesday, April 13th. And I want to talk a little bit about generational differences in online spaces. So there's a couple different ways this conversation can go. The one I want to focus on really briefly is about communication. I am 36, so I'm an older millennial, and I was raised on the internet. I got internet access in my house when I was 11, and I started communicating on message boards on AOL, and would start to, at that point, talk to people kind of from all over the world, but it was all text-based conversations. So you had to learn really quickly how to communicate in clear ways. You couldn't really use a whole lot of abbreviations until like lolcats came out. It was a lot of making sure that people understood what you were saying without tone or facial expression. We didn't have ways to send each other pictures for a really long time, not really until smartphones came out in 2007. So that's a pretty big jump. And a lot of us in my age group were on the internet that whole time, making friends, even writing stories, going on message boards, creating fanzines, even just sending email is kind of all part of that. So it's a very usual thing for a lot of people to in my generation, a little bit above and maybe a couple years below, to understand the internet as a place that you can exchange text-based communication. For Millennials and Generation Z below me, their understanding of the internet is a lot more visual. We didn't have dial-up anymore, so you could actually load visual pictures. We started getting smartphones where you could trade videos and pictures with each other. Apps started to be things like Snapchat and Zine, Vine, and now TikTok. Communication through communication through written words isn't as much of a value now. So there's a lot of different ways that people then respond to emails. You've heard people bemoan, like millennials sending emails in text speak. I would argue that's not millennials, that's below, but that's okay. And that's possible because that's the form, that's the understood standard of written communication on the internet now, is more text speak and lolcats and kind of the joking ways that we misspell things to be funny. But really the number one way to textually communicate on the internet right now is Twitter. And you have to get all of your complex ideas into 280 characters. And people raised a little bit more on Twitter, developmental ages in, maybe they got on Twitter when they were 12, 13, 14 and kind of grew up on it in a way, are going to have a different understanding about how to form reasoned arguments and what things like evidence means. Evidence to that generation probably means screenshots. And it doesn't really mean citations. That's going to feel different to some other people, other populations, and other generations. So as you are thinking about managing your generationally diverse team, I'd encourage you to think about what kind of communication they've experienced on the internet before this point or are experiencing now. Think about the ways that you do. For instance, I talk all day long on WhatsApp, on Discord, on Slack. And I send a lot of memes, but I definitely don't send videos. I've never in my life created a TikTok. I don't really even send that many selfies. Visuals aren't nearly as important to me as the language. Some of that's my personality, and some of that's my generation. So that's your food for thought for today, April 13th. We'll see you again on Monday.